Good morning, soldiers. This is Sergeant Merrill, and today we're going to be checking out a new game that's available on Steam and the Xbox Live Arcade called Special Forces Team X. So I have a little bit of a funny history with this game, and I'm happy to see it finally get released so I can play it again. But I was at PAX last year, and I was bar hopping. And what's interesting about the bars in Seattle when PAX is going on is that a lot of these developers kind of throw different events at the different bars. So it's interesting to go from bar to bar and just kind of see what's going on. So I walk into this one bar, and I can't remember the name of it, but I'm ordering a drink, and next thing I know, there's a bunch of the machinima directors there, and a bunch of people that work for machinima, including Mr. Sark and Apple Fisher, and they recognize me. I've spoken with them before. And they're like, hey, how's it going? Have you tried out this new game that's going on upstairs? It's pretty exclusive. It's a beta that they're holding upstairs. And I said, no. And they slap a wristband on me. I head upstairs with beer in hand, and for the next 3 hours, I played this game. And I don't know if it was because of all the alcohol. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little inebriated. Or if it was because it was so competitive, because I was playing with some very talented people, including Ernest Lee. He works over there at Twitch TV. You got to watch that guy sometime. He kicks ass with whatever game he picks up. But for whatever reason, I truly enjoyed my experience with this game, and I've been very much looking forward for it to come out. It's developed by Zombie Studios, and that's a studio that you should definitely follow. The same people who made Blacklight Retribution, they are just making some very interesting work over there. And one of the ways that you can follow him is just follow Jarrettson. He's one of the lead guys over there. He has a magnificent beard, so if you ever see him in public, you just can't miss him. Whoever looks like King Leonidas, that is Jarrettson. And it was funny because after I finished playing the game, I walked up to him. Have you ever tried to sound professional when you're a little inebriated? It's pretty funny. I remember just feeling like, yeah, hey, this is it's a fantastic game. Thank you. It's really fun. And then he talked back, and I could tell that he was doing the same thing. He was like, yeah, we really enjoyed making it. It was, yeah, ton of fun. I'm surprised I remember this game at all, I'm telling you. But one of the things I can tell you that I absolutely do remember, because it was just one of those things that stuck out to me, was the fact that it has this randomized level making that you are a part of. So the map is just, it can be completely random based off of whatever you choose for each part. And then everybody does this. So whatever is the most popular part for each particular piece is what comes into play. So the map changes every time you play. It's not like you pick a pre-made map. You make the map yourself, and then it gets voted on. It's a very interesting process, and it definitely changes it up between one game to the next, because no map is going to be the same. Another concept that stuck out to me that I really enjoyed is the fact that when you stick with the majority of your teammates, you have this counter at the bottom. You can see it says ×2 team bonus. The longer you stay with your team, the more of a multiplier you get on your experience. And I think that's great because it really keeps people together. Like, I remember I was playing my first time when I first picked this game back up, and I had these people that were just on my ass the whole time. I'm like, why are you guys following me? Just go do your own thing. Go kill people. And then I had forgotten that you get that team bonus by sticking around the majority of your team. And it really does help create these situations where it's team against team. And that's not to say that you can't be the guy that goes off on your own. I mean, you can do a lot of damage as a lone wolf in this game, but you're not going to get that team bonus. So they're encouraging people to stick together, but they're not forcing you to, which is something that I really enjoy. It's an aspect that I'd like to see in some other games as well. But it is a concept that I see it getting the team in trouble quite a bit. A lot of times I'll go as a lone wolf and I'll just flank behind the enemy, and I'll just notice like 5 of them just facing the other direction because they're so hell-bent on sticking together. They all go after the same targets, and they're not watching each other's backs. And then I just have a glorious moment where I get like 5 takedowns in a row. On the other side of the coin, though, that can happen the other way around. And you'll have some oh shit moments where you pop around a corner and there's 5 people staring you down, and you're kind of fucked. But it does make for some interesting gameplay, and it does make for some interesting strategies because people like XP. Even if it in the end means nothing. People like to see that they're being rewarded in some way by sticking with their team. And another thing that I want to go ahead and bring up, this is going to be a pro tip for you guys if you're just starting this game out. And this is something I noticed right off the bat when I was playing it in Seattle. Was that burst fire rules the day. You are looking at some significantly worse accuracy when you hold down the trigger on a fully automatic weapon. And that's something that I didn't expect from this game. You know, considering how cartoony and arcadey it is, I expected there to be some spread when holding down the trigger, but not to the degree that's featured in the game. So if you are playing, especially with a weapon like this, I think this is the AK-74, you need to really burst fire in order to see the accuracy that you're going to need to take down people at a range. And I think that fits in well with the whole cover mechanic. If you've played Gears of War, you're going to feel right at home with the cover mechanic in Special Forces Team X. And it's something that I'm not used to because I don't play a whole lot of games that feature a cover mechanic. I love the storyline in Gears of War, but I never really got into the multiplayer. So it was something new, but even if you're new to it, it's a very smooth experience and it just makes sense. There's not many times that I put myself into cover without intending to, and moving from cover to cover does feel very natural and smooth. Now, another thing I noticed when you're trying to get the enemy out of cover is that grenades don't do a whole lot of damage. And that kind of disappointed me. I get a kill on this guy with the grenade, but it's because I took a significant amount of health out of him with the AK that I had. And then I get taken down from behind. But the grenades don't do a terribly large amount of damage, so a lot of times I felt like I was wasting time trying to get a grenade into a certain spot when I could just use that time to flank around and do some real damage with my weapon. And that's honestly what I found myself doing quite a bit. Obviously, I wasn't too worried about experience and getting that extra XP from sticking with the team because I love to flank around, get behind him, and do the whole takedown mechanic. It's so addictive. I really enjoyed it, where he shoots him in the back of the head and then double taps him in the chest. It's really addictive, a lot of fun to see, and it's something that I would love to see in Call of Duty. We saw it in Battlefield 3. It was great. I'm really happy that they added that to the Battlefield series. And it's something that does need to be in Call of Duty, if you ask me, because one, it stops people from just knifing 18 people in a row if they flank. That shouldn't happen. You can't just stab people in the arm and expect them to go down. I would love to see like a 3-second takedown mechanic in Call of Duty to where you have some type of chance to be saved by your team, but also it provides a really large amount of satisfaction. But I apologize. I'm digressing toward Call of Duty. I need to stop that. So as far as what weapons are featured in this game, I haven't really got into it a whole lot. I've only played maybe 5 or 6 games so far, maybe a little bit more than that, but unlocks feel a little bit slow to me. So I haven't been able to experiment with a lot of the different weapons that the game has to offer, and what also feels slow is the amount of attachments that unlock with each particular weapon. They're all level based, so the only thing I've been able to put on the weapon so far is a red dot. Now that doesn't stop me from performing extremely well, and here you see that grenade does nothing. It hasn't stopped me from performing well. You can still perform very well, and you get this dog thing very early on that I'm not a huge fan of. I think it's super annoying, kind of buggy. The dog gets stupid every now and then and doesn't go after the enemy, and then when you get killed by a dog, it's kind of really annoying. It's not something that I enjoy at all. In fact, it felt a little bit like the Dead to Rights game that was on the PS2. I'm not sure if y'all remember that game at all, but it was where you played this cop and you could send your canine after enemies. It feels like that, only more buggy. And what sucks right now is it's one of the first things that you unlock, so it feels just like everybody is using it. There's dogs just running everywhere, but they're not the greatest thing in the world, so once people start to unlock other things, I really do think that they're going to move on. And the game just came out a couple days ago, so I'm really looking forward to a lot of the weapons that are featured in the game. There does look to be a very good balance. So the AK-47, I believe it's the short variant, is the only thing that I've really messed with at this point. Here I'm using the Colt 1911. It's one of the secondaries. The secondaries don't feel particularly that strong, so whenever you have the opportunity to pick up an enemy's weapon if you run out of ammo, I would highly suggest it. And they also have some interesting game modes. I mean, I played Team Deathmatch for the majority because that's what most servers were running, but there's also like a domination type game mode, and I really enjoyed that as well when I was playing the beta in Seattle. Here we see the AK-47, and you can just see how that spread gets me into trouble. The spread is reduced a lot when you're in cover and when you burst fire, so again, keep that in mind. All in all, guys, this is an outstanding game. It's only $14.99, I think. And you just have to support games like this. I mean, games like this come along all the time, and people are like, well, it's not Call of Duty and it's not Battlefield, so I'm not going to play it. Guys, Zombie Studios is an outstanding studio that's really looking to move genres forward. I mean, just looking at Blacklight Retribution alone and the whole free-to-play model that they use and how many companies are using influences from that today, to the outstanding job that they did with this game, they very much deserve your support. So if you have a little bit of extra cash and want to play a really interesting game it's a lot more complex than you would expect from a game that's $14.99, this is definitely worth your money. So in the comment section, I'd like to know what your thoughts on this game is, your initial thoughts, especially if you've already picked it up. Maybe you can help some people out that are watching this video that haven't picked it up or are just considering it. Let them know what your thoughts on it are, what they can expect from it. But that's all I have for this video. This is Sergeant Merrill, out here.